Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Friday Night Books and Booze. And we today, my guest is Sharon C. Cooper, and we are here today to talk about In It to Win It. Right? This is the would you say sequel to you had
You
Business
know,
as Usual.
I didn't really, the publisher didn't really call it a sequel, but technically it's kind of, sort of a
Yeah,
sequel,
yeah.
especially since it has some of the characters from Business Not As Usual.
Right. So, Sharon, before we get into talking about the book, first of all, like I know we talked about business as usual before, but now that we got in it to win it, tell us a little bit about like the inspiration because now we have two considered rom-coms, if you will. So, one question is what led you to do rom-com? And then the second question is why these two?
Okay, so I never planned to write a romantic comedy, but I had a book idea that I had shared with some author friends. And when I was telling them about the idea, I had pictured like a 4 or 5 book series, had all these little stories planned out. And in my head, while I'm describing what I plan to do, I was thinking romantic suspense. And they were laughing, I was like, oh, this is gonna be such a great romantic comedy. I'm thinking like, that's not what I had in mind. But then after they kind of planted that, I was like, maybe I should kind of think about that. And then a couple of the authors in the group were already traditionally published, and they were saying that publishers are looking for more romantic comedy. And I'm thinking like, I don't know. I've never done romantic comedy. So then I kind of did a proposal. It sold, and that's how the romantic comedy came to be. But it was the romantic comedy. I won't necessarily say it's harder to write, but while you're writing it, things that I think are is funny, somebody else might not. So you're always thinking like, okay, this is funny to me, but will anybody else think it's funny? Or do I need to up the funny? Or, is this too silly? Like with Business Not As Usual, some parts were just really silly, but I literally laughed through so many of those scenes because I thought they were funny. And
I think
so
we
I
agree
don't,
with you.
yeah, I can't really see myself doing much, no time soon. I'll put it that way. I've learned
Mhm.
never to say never, but I don't enjoy writing it as much as I enjoy writing romantic suspense or contemporary romance. It's not, it's not super hard to write, but it's not as easy as you might would think
Yeah. Oh,
um,
okay.
it is to write. And then your second question, what was your second question?
Well, like, why these two?
These two, actually, I had something else in mind, but this is what the publisher wanted.
Okay, okay.
That's how Morgan got a story. That's what
Yeah.
they wanted. Yeah,
Well,
I probably would have done Jordan because I had some ideas for her.
okay. Yeah.
Jordan is
So
the cousin that's in Business Not As Usual.
right.
But
And then of course, I don't know if Lester, like, of course we had the uncle or that we all love and everything. So I thought I don't know if when I read him, I don't know if he was like a strong enough character to be uh um a main character, but he was a great secondary character, and that's what I thought in Business as Usual. But then when you brought him back in it to win it, I was like, oh, bro got a whole story going on. He could do it because at that wedding scene, when he just like I'm getting ahead of myself, but we'll get there.
okay.
Uh, but anyway, so I think in it to win it, we also kind of we visited back with Dreamy and Carter.
Yep.
And so in Business as Usual, Carter was very serious. Like, it was even hard to get him to crack a smile until he met Dreamy, right?
Right, right.
So which was his match, right? But then when you brought him back here with uh oh my goodness, I just drew a blank with
Morgan,
Morgan. Uh, he was a different person. We saw another side of him.
a
And
little
to
lighter.
me, yeah, to me, him and Drake were like alike in
Right.
that, with the whole sibling thing. And I thought when it was a scene where he went to the meeting with her, the meeting about the building, and when he touched her nose, like I was like, who is this guy? Now, what was your intent with Carter? I mean, obviously he wasn't the main character here, but you wrote him a way different way in Business as Usual.
Yeah, because I figured if you've been around Dreamy for a while, you're gonna kind of lighten up. You're gonna be a different person than you were before
Yeah.
meeting her. And so I didn't see him the same as I saw him as in Business Not as Usual. And in It to Win It, I figured, he's with Dreamy. He has everything he wants. He's a little more laid back,
Well, he was a
and
lot more laid back.
yeah, and that's how I saw him. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, and I think
I
it's
don't even know if I remember him touching her nose though.
yeah, it was a thing when they were waiting to go into the meeting. She was of course, a little bit anxious or whatever. And
Yeah,
he just kind of, I think it was like a touch of the nose or shoulder or something
or
like that,
something.
like you got this kid kind of
Right,
thing,
right, right, right.
And I thought, who is this guy? Like, this is not my card. And then I went back, but yes, he's with Dreamy. So yes, this
Yeah,
was her brother.
yeah.
And so
And
I
him and Morgan, even in his story, him and Morgan, she kind of brought out a lighter side of him too. I don't know if you remember a scene where they were sitting on a patio, and she was trying to convince him to ask Dreamy out, even though she didn't know who Dreamy was, but she knew he was interested. And so to me, she was kind of like Dreamy in that sense, where she kind of brought out a lighter side of him than he was, in his business world, so to speak.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
so
do. I do remember them sitting out there. But I also too, I feel like, and I had to think back to myself because when I was reading Morgan's character and having had read Dreamy's character, it was almost like they were kindred spirits. You know what I
they're
mean?
very similar.
Right. And
Both love life, kind of laid back, easygoing. Dreamy, I felt like she was a little more determined because she had a lot to prove. Where Morgan was, still kind of, just loving
yeah,
life, but wanting to accomplish something, I guess.
yeah, and I like how when you're well, they were well off. The family was well off. And so when you have a sibling or kids like that, it's usually one or the other that's going to be like considered the weakest link. So I felt like Dreamy, but for different reasons, they did have something to prove. And
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah, and when she went after this property, she went after it for all the right reasons, right? And just like Drake, he had a very viable reason for going after the property. But I just thought, like, okay, how is she going to, mesh this together? Because really, it wasn't like he wanted it for selfish reasons, she wanted it for selfish reasons. They both had viable reasons for it. So I remember before it got to the point where what we saw what was going to unfold, I thought to myself, like, how is she going to spin this? You can't take it away from him because
Yeah,
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 and you can't take it away from her because they need it. So I
yeah.
like how you meshed it together.
And it was
um
interesting. A reader told me that she assumed that it would be like an enemies to lovers kind of story where they would be battling, kind of going head to head throughout the majority of the story. And I was thinking to myself, I'm not a fan of enemies to lovers, even though I know that's a very popular trope. And it hadn't even crossed my mind to even do something like
well, yeah,
something like
I think with the synopsis, and as we were going, like when we were first meeting them and we knew that they were going to be after the same property, and then in that first meeting, Oh, it kind of had to feel like it was gonna be, yeah. And then the title too, "In It to
Right.
Win It," like
Yeah.
"Bring It On." That was kind of like the whole temperature level in that boardroom when they was getting in there. So yeah, it
Yeah.
kind of did have that feel at first,
Right.
but
Right.
you kind of gave a little twist there, you know.
Yeah. I wonder
Um,
if I had thought about that trope if I would have tried it. I've never I don't think I've ever written a friends to lovers because I don't read them that often. So,
mhm.
but had I thought about it, I might have tried to do it, but it didn't even come to mind.
It was on its way. I mean, it was going in a good direction to be an enemies to lovers kind of thing. But I love the twist that you made in there because and just first let me just stop 1 second and just say good evening to everyone. Thank you all for coming and joining in with us. Today's wine is not what I paired the book with. So I paired the book with a Christmas red from Cooper's Hawk because I read it, you know, around Christmas time. And then for those of you who don't know, and I'll post it later, that particular wine, they have a red and a white. It is really popular if you heat it up just a little bit. And I usually drink it in the mug with a cinnamon stick. So
Wow.
that's my Christmas drink, right?
Is it
So
sweet?
yeah, it no, well, it's not real sweet like
A
your
white
Stella
or
Rosa Black,
okay. Yeah.
but it's not real heavy like it's sort of on the lines of a Shiraz kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like so it's like one of those blended kind of reds.
Okay.
And they have the same kind of like have a white too that you can, you know, have warm. So I think my husband kind of took a liking to that one. So I opened the white too around not Thanksgiving but New Year's, and he likes that one. So,
Okay.
but today's wine that I am drinking is also from. Oh, let me get my focus here. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, there we go. Is
Okay.
also a Cooper's
Oh,
Hawk
great.
one, but it's grateful, right?
Okay.
And so let me tell you why I thought this was good for today's chat because both of these characters had a lot to be grateful for. You know what I mean? Uh, let's see, Morgan was coming into her own. So she finally got her balance, right? And she was doing something she loved and she was doing it for all the right reasons, right?
Right.
And then Drake also too was doing everything that he needed to do. He was that great big brother, and he wanted to just have one more thing that his father had done, just one more piece of his father he wanted. So, and I think the way you brought them together, they had a lot to be grateful for. A lot to be grateful for. So that was the reason why today's wine, I
Gotcha.
said, okay, that's gonna be for today's wine.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Um, okay, so Sharon, Addison and Aiden.
I love them. They were,
Oh
I
my
hate
God.
to say it, I probably enjoy writing them even more than I did Morgan and Drake.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. So for me, they were my heroes in the story, my heroes. But baby, that Addison, she is no joke. He is there, no so joke. And they like super smart. So like where
Yeah.
did the inspiration for those characters come from?
Actually, my nephew, he's 14. He actually is my inspiration for the kid in Vindicated. I don't know why. Dominic. He was my inspiration for Dominic years ago. But
Uh-huh.
now he's 14, sharp, super smart. He's
Oh yeah.
not he's not like not into shenanigans like Aiden, but that's who I vibed them off of my niece. But my niece is only 11, but she is way beyond her age as far as personality. And so while I'm writing them, I'm totally picturing while I was writing Aiden and Addison, I was totally picturing my niece and nephew Marley and MJ. Um, just be yeah, because some of the stuff that they come up with is hilarious. You know, it's like
Right.
there's no way we were like this when we were, when we were their age. You know, they're just so sharp, funny, and just have me cracking up all the time. So.
Well, I thought, how special was it when Addison, went to visit. Well, first of all, the grocery store scene was just everything. The grocery store scene was just everything, and just, those kids were just like, they were just unbelievable. Like, just the stuff that they were saying was just like they've been here before, right? But when she made that connection with Morgan, I thought that was really cute. I love that. That was one of my favorite scenes in the grocery store.
Okay.
And when Morgan, so like when I say that she's like a kindred spirit to Dreamy, is because she's not real quirky like Dreamy
Like dreams,
was,
yeah.
but she was very giddy when they got up to that sewing room. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
sort of like me and my books. Like, you come into my,
Okay.
my books and my wine. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta show you. I gotta show you.
Right?
So I love the way they bonded with that. And then because it was time for him to let go, because he had, for so long, it was just them.
Right.
And
Right.
so they were older, but then I still felt like, had Morgan not really came along, or um if he didn't see that side of her, how she is now today, he might have
Right.
carried on with the whole, I can't do it. The kids would have been gone and married, and he'd have been still there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But Drake's friend, I kind of almost got a little bit nervous with him, because he was very weird about Morgan. And I thought, okay, is there a story there, like a backstory with those two? Like, I know they grew up together. He was around when she hurt him. But I was like, I know Miss Sharon is not getting ready to tell me that he has some kind of love interest in her. Like, just because I was like, wait a minute, because I was expecting rom
I
com,
wish
like,
I would have thought of that.
because I was like, why is he acting so weird around him? Like, I get that they boys and everything, right?
Yeah. That's
But I was
funny.
like, okay, what is his deal? Like, I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It
So
was
it's nothing
only that,
there.
he was the one that had to pick up the pieces basically,
Hmm.
to help Drake, kind of move on, because Drake had a lot going on when she walked out. And
Yeah.
so, him being his best friend, like his brother, was the one that kind of saw him at his worst, trying
Okay.
to pick up the pieces. And he's like, why would you want to put yourself through that again? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's all that was. But that would have been cool though if
Me, I'm always finding angles. Like, I can't just sit down and just read a book. I'm like, always like, what's that? What's going on? What's happening? You know what I mean?
actually that's how I read books, because of just because of our active imagination. I think that's where that comes
Yeah. Uh-oh. Get this. So yeah, so I thought something was going, and then there was a few times, but particularly when they were getting for that going for that meeting, she gave him a look, and he gave her a look, and that's what started me down that rabbit hole, because I'm like, okay, what does that look mean?
Oh,
You
okay.
know what I
No, I
mean?
didn't mean anything.
And Miss Brenda, I agree with you. Those twins, like, they ended up being my heroes of the story. Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy writing their scenes. I mean, especially like the cupcake scene. I literally was laughing out loud when he with the cupcake scene when they came home after the party and she had offered to make hot chocolate and he was like, I know you can't cook or something like that. I'll take care of the hot chocolate. Just, I really I was trying to find as many opportunities as I could to work them into the story without messing up the romance part. But they were just so much fun to write. Yeah.
Yeah, they were. I mean, yeah, it was times when I just really just kind of felt like real comfortable just reading their scenes, and even you before you switch to the other stuff, I was very comfortable with reading about them. Like, I could have just kept on.
Yeah,
Um, but then, okay, yeah. Darnell was talking about the spider scene. So
yeah.
that spider scene,
I have some friends who are terrified of spiders, and so I kind of channeled. I mean, looking back, it was a silly scene, but I can totally picture certain people just freaking out like that over like even the smallest spider. And I can't talk because I'm terrified of rodents, so I would have been like that too.
Well, but here, let me just say about the spider scene. So Aiden had this whole hypothesis about the spider. And then I'm sad to say, like, I'm not a big spider fan, but it's sad to say that I like really got into it. Like
Really?
literally, like, yeah, I'm like, okay, okay, let me hear more kind of thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I needed to hear more. And so when he goes to the office to go to work, I'm thinking that's it, right? I'm like, how did I even miss him putting that spider in his pocket?
Yeah, because it's not like I showed it. It was like one of those things. I was working on the scene and it popped in my head. I was like, I gotta have them, something's gotta happen. And then I thought about the spider. It was gonna be either that or the snake. And I was like, yeah, the snake might not have the same effect, but the
Oh yeah,
spider,
no, yeah, the spider. Yeah, you would have wouldn't wait. That'd have been too much. The spider. I mean the
the
snake.
snake, yeah.
But okay, so when that spider, when it flicked out of his pocket, that was just a whole scene in itself. I think I don't know, y'all. Y'all tell me in the comments, but I think that spider scene was equivalent to Dreamy's Dreamy's wig scene.
Really? Oh
Almost,
man.
I think, because
I wish I could duplicate a wig scene or something. Cause for me, that was like one of those scenes I wrote where that was like probably the one scene I've ever written where I impressed myself. Like, this is funny. This is just,
oh yeah.
funny. The spider scene I thought was funny, but I thought it was more silly than funny. With the wig scene, it's like I've witnessed this. I know this could happen.
Well, no, it was one of those scenes. That spider scene was this. Like, okay, so it's like it pops up, right? And then she's like, oh, and then it was like she trying to keep from falling, and then it just spirals way out of control. And then and he so he is she's mad at him, right? So she doesn't want him, and then he's got to be the one to pick her up. But then it's like he knows this about her, and then she's pouting and thing like that. It was just great. It was just like one thing right after another with the
Yeah.
whole scene
I'm
there.
glad you like that scene because I honestly thought that was gonna be a little too silly. That and the grocery store scene, but I thought they were funny. So
Yeah, no, I adored the grocery store scene because Addison made that everything for me. But that
okay,
fall, that spider, and then yeah, it was silly because it was a spider. But then if you remember the scene prior to that with Addison, I mean
Yeah,
Aiden,
Aiden.
giving this whole hypothesis about the spider thing, and then it ends up in the pocket, and then he's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, how did that get there? He knows how it got there. Now he's got to explain to her because she immediately goes to, I don't like spiders, and you
Right, and
just
she think he
being mean or whatever.
intentionally.
But that fall, it was like she could not stop falling. And it was one of those things like when you think you caught the box, and then you kind of ease up, and then it continues to fall. You be like,
Right.
oh my goodness. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know where you come up with these things. Like, when when you first wrote the first book, I was like, she got this romantic suspense stuff on lock. Like, yeah, she got it on lock. Now she about to make us laugh. Okay, let's see that. And then you came all out with the with Dreamy, and then this one, like I said, it read a little bit different than Dreamy. It wasn't like I think, and for me, I'm just gonna say for me, after reading this one and then knowing that this one was considered a sequel, or the second
Connected.
book to it, I was like, okay, you were expecting, you had, how's she gonna beat this wig scene, right?
Yeah. I was like, I really tried, but I just knew I could not beat that scene. That is
Yeah,
my all-time favorite scene of all books I've ever written, you know. And though I tried, I knew deep down I could not beat that scene. I
yeah. I
still think
think that one
about
will
that
go
scene.
down in history for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, Myra. So the first one is, if you hear us talking about the wig scene, it's in Business Not as Usual. Very, very good book. I mean, it's like all time, all laughing all the way through. And this one here is, the In It to Win It, the one that we're talking about today. It has some of the supporting characters from the other book, and this one, is also equally funny. But this one has the twins in it. So yes, give both of them. You will enjoy them. Now,
Yeah. Now with
that,
Dreamy's book, I really considered that one funny. Where with Morgan's book, I thought about it more as cute. You know,
mhm,
it was cute. I was trying to, introduce people, not necessarily introduce, but kind of shed light on some of the issues with kids aging out of foster care. So it was, I had a different mindset, I guess.
mhm,
With Dreamy Story, it was just like with somebody named Dreamy, you just have to just kind of go all in.
mhm,
Where this one had, I wanted to kind of tap into a few different emotions, I guess, for my
yeah.
readers. But yeah,
I mean, you did a great job in
really
both of
funny.
them. But it's like, you want to, when you tell your friends about the book, I feel like, yeah, if you read Business as Usual, and you go run out and get In It to Win It, um, don't look for the wig scene, because the
Right,
wig scene is
right,
there. I mean, it's already been done. So yeah, you got that. But okay, so tell me, what was about this meeting? Like, this guy, why did he make them go through boot camp? What was that all about?
I don't know. That's just me and my imagination. I'm 100% sure. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's probably some eccentric billionaire out there that might try something like that, but I've never heard anything done like that. And it was just, I was just on a roll of making up stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how
Well,
that
okay,
came to be.
and it fit. It fits. It did fit. It was a little bit weird. It was
Yeah,
a little bit weird.
it was
Uh,
very weird, very far fetched, I thought. And so that's why I wanted it in there. I needed them to, I don't know, I just wanted something different. And then I was like, it's got to be a good reason for them to have to um, go through an obstacle course and run and all that kind of stuff. So that's when I tied it to a charity
mhm,
where he wanted to shed some light on charities and figured this is a good opportunity because of the type of people who were bidding on this property and their reach, that they probably could reach a different type of people that he would normally reach with his annual. Because I guess in my head, I'm thinking he did this annually, but not with the building involved.
mhm.
And so you had people like Morgan, Drake, you had, a couple of other multimillionaires that were, trying to get this building. So his thought process in my head, the old man's thought process was, I should have them compete for the building. Then, the people that they know, this would shed light on his nonprofit that he had created um, for
It was for his
servicemen.
wife, right?
It was for actually for servicemen who come, who are trying to get acclimated back into civilian life, basically.
Okay, okay, which still the reason,
Dealing with
because yeah,
PTSD and stuff like that. So he was trying, this was his, nonprofit organization that, he wanted to shed even more light on that. So yeah, it was really far fetched,
but
but
I mean, it fit. It fit, and then it showed dedication on, Morgan's part, for sure. Because if you knew what type of character she was in, Business Not as Usual, you didn't think that she would be out there. Here's a
right,
person who,
She
with
didn't
all
like to
these.
get dirty and
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then, but she was out there, and she was very, very willing to, to go ahead with it. And then she got sick, and that whole sick thing. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen. But then it
I'm not
showed.
even sure why I went that route, but it worked.
It was cute because because at that point you know, you could really tell, or in their both of their minds, you saw the dedication, the trust, and that they were both. It wasn't about at that point. It wasn't about who would get the building. It was about, are you okay? We're in this together. So I thought that was good, and I thought too. I'm not sure, but in my mind, because in my mind, I was thinking that that was really what his mentor wanted. It
You
was.
know, in my mind, that's how it was too. And I tried to work that into the story, where he would come back later on and say, I'd hoped that you two would get together or something.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it just didn't it would have felt forced if I would have went the route I was thinking of going. And so I
Well, that
figured,
was that was the route that I went in my mind. That was what I
yeah.
was
But in
thinking.
my
But
head, that's what was, it was intentional. His mentors hopes that they can come together like that. So
right, because I think his father had passed away. He was getting older, and so he knew what type of person he was. He was a loner, and
right.
he felt
Just
like
all about the kid.
that godfather that sees like you working yourself to the bone. It's got to be something else. Out there. The kids, his sister and brother was getting older.
Right.
So that was the way I took it. I felt like, because in that meeting, he felt like because of the relationship he had, that he had this on lock, right?
Right.
And then
She
he
felt that
showed
too.
him. Yeah, he
She
showed
felt
him
the
a
same
very
way because he was a
secret
family
side.
friend.
hmm And so he hey there, Miss Vanessa. And so
Hey, Vanessa.
I felt like, when he saw them at that the boot camp. I'm calling it the boot camp because they was actually on an army base or military base. And hey Joyce. And so I think he was pleased at that. And even though they both got the building, I was already thinking in my mind that, this can work to both of their advantage, because this was supposed to be like a really huge property, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know, Sharon. I know you said you're not going to go back to this, but I said, I know she said she wasn't going to do this anymore. This was it. But you kind of
But
left.
I'll say I'll never say never.
Okay.
But writing romantic comedy is not my favorite. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie. It was fun. It was fun.
But this doesn't have to be. Okay, what I'm asking, y'all got my back out there because y'all know I'm about to go there. Okay, so what I'm asking is, I want to see some more of the characters. I definitely want to see Aiden and Addison. I gotta see them, but it does not have to be romantic.
Okay.
You
I'll
know
keep
how,
that in mind.
but it can be. It can be, but it doesn't
I
have
mean,
to be.
I can't imagine writing Aiden without it being some kind of comedy though. I think he's just like a naturally funny kid.
But then that means that it'll be just easy. It'll come to you because the way his character will come to you, you'll just write it that way, and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because I want to see because Aiden is very. I don't know what to say about him. He would be one of those characters that I would love to have, like, in my arsenal, like to have at a party or something like that. Because he kind of reminds me of my youngest son in a way. Like,
Okay.
okay, like he's super smart, uh, but he can size you up in 5 minutes. And when I tell you, he will find something to have you laughing at yourself. Oh my God. So he kind of reminds me of that. And like, but he can be serious though. Like, I mean, and he can hold any conversation about anything. And that so reminds me of Aiden. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and he's an old soul too. Aiden reminds me of an old soul.
Yeah,
But but
definitely.
but him and Addison together, because she's not that. She's not that, and she's just like really do like a
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Come on now, let's get on with that, you know. So I really want to see them together. Plus, now I Lester,
I loved Lester. I had to add him. I got so many emails from the first book with Gramps, where people they loved Lester. So it's like I had to add him back into the story.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean that whole scene with
With Lester.
the wedding. Oh my gosh, he was just too much. Like he was just yeah. Mama Tony says she's talking about what was the mentor's name? I should say the mentor, but I can't really think of his name. But yeah, he did see something in that they didn't see in
Uh,
themselves.
I don't know why I can't think of his name.
Yeah. And then the guy, the his assistant too was I liked him too.
Yeah. Now you
Yeah.
got me. I'm gonna have to look because I can't remember. I can't remember the mentor's name.
Yeah, I could see that, Ola. Yeah. Because yeah, it was just how people are like when they see an adult just kind of going down that road where it doesn't look like they can't let go. And as you need to show them that it's so much more. And then like I said, he had just lost his wife, too. So, that was just, that's
Yeah.
good too.
One of the things I wish I would have circled back because I had one or two scenes with Morgan and her mother, where her mother was still the same kind of person she was in Dreamy Story, but I couldn't get the scene to work with the rest of the story, so I cut it. Hindsight, it would have been nice to show their relationship or the conflict of the relationship where Morgan's mom really wanted her to pursue her, the fashion design because
Mhm.
Morgan had a gift, but she wanted her to pursue it for maybe not necessarily the right reasons. Where
Right.
she wanted, because she had all these friends and
Yeah.
into high fashion and just kind of she wanted bragging rights basically.
Yeah.
And so I had a scene like that, but because I couldn't make it, it just didn't fit, you know.
Well, I got something else for you though.
Oh boy.
Okay. So, but it's your story. You can write it the way you want to. But I
Okay.
was thinking that what a wonderful thing for um when Morgan and Dre gets together. Of course, Addison and Aiden are a package deal. And so Morgan's mother will fall in love with the twins because you can't help but, right?
Right.
But then Addison would take on that dream and she could live vicariously through Jordan, you know?
That's
Yeah.
true.
So, yeah.
That's true. Because she
Mhm.
wanted to be a fashion designer.
Right.
And
And
you're
and
good.
Addison loves that stuff. I mean, she's really
Right.
into it. And then all of Morgan will spill all of everything she knows, all of her stuff into Addison. And then her mom could have the bragging rights, like my
I
granddaughter,
know.
or whatever.
I would have it different where they get along perfectly, where she doesn't, the mom doesn't get along with anybody else. But
Right,
her
right, right.
Allison
Yeah.
is
And listen, honey, we could write her
okay.
all the
That could
way.
be fun. I
Yeah.
admit that could be fun.
Okay, okay. See, I ain't gonna never leave you hanging. I ain't gonna send you away with nothing and just tell you give me something. I'm I'm invested in this stuff. And then he ain't my ride or die out there, Joyce. Listen, so you see what she's saying.
Oh, that
Yes,
would be a good pairing.
yes, yes. Good one, Joyce. Good
That
one.
would be a good pairing. I agree, Joyce. That Mateo and Jordan, she definitely would give him a run for his money.
Yep,
But
yep.
that would be a good pairing.
See, we listen. We got you. We got you.
You guys are just trying to make more work for me. That's what it
Well,
is.
we ain't saying it got to be right now. We just saying,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
put it on that board up there. All right. Oh, Jeffrey, yes, Jeffrey Keller was
That's right.
the mentor.
Yep.
Yes, thank you,
Kelvin.
George. Yeah. Um. So we got Jordan, right? And then now, what about Izzy?
You know, I that's the one person who was in the story that I never even thought about a story for her. Mateo, I could totally see. I
Mm-hmm.
could totally see Mateo. I wanted to write Jordan's story, but they wanted Morgan's. Um, Lester, Slick Lester. I think it would be fun to write a seasoned romance with Lester. I
Oh
think it would be
yes, and we don't have a
hilarious.
whole lot of those. We don't
Yeah.
have a whole lot of those.
Yeah, but he's kind of up in age, so it would be, he's, I think he was in his 80s, I think. So that would be a little bit of a
Honey, the way
maybe
he
a little.
pimped up in that, the way he pimped up in that wedding, and all them women on the sidelines, honey, 80 or 9, 80 or 9, and I think
Okay, good
Slick,
point.
Slick Lester still got it. But
I could do a love triangle with him.
right, right, he would be the one, and then it would be church people. Yeah, that would be Slick Lester, honey. He'd have all the mothers of the church just at his. And then look,
Okay, that would be funny. I mean, that could be hilarious.
wait a minute, wait. I got more. So you know how they do the Sunday dinners at the church, right?
They're fighting over who will
All the
prepare the plate.
mothers would be, yeah, it'll be a food fight over Slick Lester. And he'll say something like this: wait a minute, we don't be throwing away no good food. Y'all take that outside to the parking lot.
Okay, that could be funny. That could be hilarious, actually. Oh man.
Sharon, only you make me do this. You make my mind go there. Like, oh my God, I cannot. Like, I don't even know where this stuff comes from. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But
That's
anyway,
that active imagination. That's
I
what it is.
know, I know, I know, I know. But I mean, I be when I read your books, I'm like, hmm, I can see this. I can see this. And then I might, before I have you on and talk to you, you might be talking to somebody else and they'll ask the question because we all want to know. And you'll say, no, I don't think so. And I'll be like,
That sounds
no.
just like me.
I'll be like, come on, you come on over here and talk to me. Let me see if I can change your mind a little bit because I see more
Oh
in the future.
man. Oh, that's so
All
funny.
right, so here, Veronica, Veronica, I was gonna ask her too to slow, but so since she asked the question, she want to know, is there any more romantic suspense coming?
Yes, I have at least one plan for this year, and that's Parker's story from Atlanta's Finest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would love to squeeze in two, but I don't know if I'll be able to squeeze in two.
Mm-hmm.
If I do squeeze, I know I have two stories in mind and started for Atlanta's Finest, and that's Parker's story and Nelson's story.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We with that too. We with that too, Veronica. Listen, like I say, this stuff, it don't have to be done right now. It don't have to be this year.
As long as I'm planning it, huh?
Yeah, yeah. You're like you got it somewhere up there. Now write the stuff down now so so we won't forget. Or I'll send you the recording and then so you don't forget because I might go back. I'll go back on you in a minute. Like you said.
I know between you and Shay, I gotta really be careful what I admit or agree to.
But it's all love. It's all love. Let's see what Mama told us. She said Mateo and Jordan would be a tit for tat with each other.
Oh yeah,
They probably would, but that would be a great story.
I
I
think that
think it
would be
would
a
be
good
intense
matchup.
though. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really necessarily see them as a romantic comedy, but I think they would be fun, a fun couple to write.
Yeah, I think it would be very intense before, they really, come together because they're more alike than they are
Yep,
different. And
they
so
are.
that would be
I think he would eventually kind of bring out her softer side, but her being a lawyer, yeah, she gonna Yeah, he'll be in an argument with her all the time, probably.
Oh yeah, because he yeah, I can just see them. Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're a good fit though. They
they are. They're both alphas, so I think yeah, that would be interesting. That would be a very
yeah,
very
and
interesting.
that could be romantic suspense.
Oh, most definitely,
Yeah,
most definitely.
because
Yeah,
her being a lawyer and everything. In a way, that would reminds me of, who am I thinking of? Them. Who am I thinking of? Who am I thinking of? Y'all know who I'm thinking of. Last.
oh,
They remind me, those two remind me of Last, but just like he's not a cop, but just with the lawyer thing and them both being
yeah,
so into themselves. Yeah,
definitely,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Yeah, but you
Yeah.
gave me with them, I don't know if a body in a trunk will fit. So we might have to do something else a little bit. I have to bring that down a little, soften it up a little bit. I don't know about a
Yeah, that's another scene that probably can't be repeated, you know.
yeah. Oh my God, that one
I
had me
got a
going
lot of
too.
emails off of that one.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, honey,
that
I was
was
just like, yeah, you had our Inspector Gadgets hats on, honey, with that one. Like, Lord, we all out here with little pocket notebooks, taking notes and stuff. Like, did you see that, honey? Listen, everybody needed the book buddy on that one. Okay,
okay.
listen.
That was such a fun story to write, man. It was like, ooh, this is gonna be so good. It was more of that more than me laughing through these other two books. That one, it was like, oh my goodness, they're gonna love this part, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, guys, I promise I'm trying to keep y'all, not to keep y'all long on these chats, because y'all know I can go. So I'm gonna the time just kind of went down fast. Seemed like we just started to talk about, but so Sharon, is there anything else you want to share with us? Like, what do we have to look forward to this year with your writing?
Yeah, I have quite a bit planned for this year. I'm working on two stories now. One is the Jenkins family reunion story.
Oh yeah, we're so
Um,
happy to go back there.
yeah, and that is planned for if I can hit my deadlines. That is planned for a February release. I'll have pre-orders for that soon.
Mhm.
And then I have a couple of collaborations this year. So
Oh
look for
wow.
surprises. Yeah.
Okay. Is
Those will
it
be some
anything you
nice
can
surprises.
tell us, or we have to wait?
You have to wait.
Okay. Okay.
Have to wait, but you'll be pleasantly surprised with both.
All right. All right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all see how I did that? I'm being good. She said you have to wait. What I do, I listen. I'm being obedient. She said we gotta wait. I don't like it, but anyway, we gonna wait. We gonna have to wait anyway, right? Um. So, what about any events this year? Any sightings?
Yeah, I have one with Mama Tony actually in June.
Okay.
Um how come I cannot think? The Maniacs.
Okay. 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 Okay.
Yeah, in Baltimore. No, not
Okay.
Baltimore. Yeah, Baltimore.
Baltimore.
That one's in
Okay.
Baltimore in June. I'll be at the experience, the with
Raw.
Shay Baby.
Yeah. Raw.
Raw. I'll be there.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to that. I hate I
Yeah.
missed last year. Those two are definite. There was one I was supposed to do the end of February, but there's been some issues with the location, so I'm not sure that what's going on with that one.
Okay.
But the other two, I'm definitely planning to be at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will definitely see you at Raw. Not sure if my schedule is. I had penciled in the Maniacs, so I have to see how that's gonna go. If you all know me, I have for what 5 years I've been on a plane every other month. It seemed like going to a book event, but
I bet.
yeah, so since COVID, and I've been around for, while we were all grounded, the family is like, you never do anything with us, kind of thing. So, I gotta balance, you gotta balance some stuff. So, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be able to go to. So I know I have Raw, of course. I'm
Yeah,
doing that event,
yeah.
and
So I'll definitely see you
yeah,
there.
yeah. So I got a few things like here and there. So I'm gonna try to fit in whatever I can. And then my work, it's been like a little weird. So I did the new job about like 3 years ago, and then I've gone through, you know, managers and stuff, and so everybody wants something different. Everybody don't let you move the same way.
Right.
So I'm trying to find my place up under this new regime.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm thinking I gotta find me a look. I gotta make a plan, y'all, because listen, this work thing is getting in the way of my book stuff.
Okay.
But anyway, Sharon, I am so happy that you took the time to come out with me. I always
I
appreciate
appreciate
you.
you inviting me on. I always
Yeah.
have a good time.
Yeah, I love it. And listen, so guys, go out and get Business Not As Usual and In It to Win It. You don't have to read them together, but you will enjoy them that much more. You'll kind of know from which the characters are coming from. But they're two, to me, they're two different stories, but they are both very, very good in their own right. So
Well,
do
thank
check
you.
those out. The In It to Win It wasn't a Christmas story, but it was very much the book that you can read over the weekend and enjoy it. I enjoyed it with wine, of course, because that's what I do. But you can enjoy it with whatever drink, coffee, tea, or whatever. I can't imagine anyone not drinking wine while they read because wine makes a good book great. That's just me.
Keep drinking the wine. Keep drinking it.
Yeah. See, I come up with all of these little loopholes when I be drinking my wine. Y'all should see my little notebook. I had to have a notebook, but I got it in my book buddy, but I had to put like a little sticky page in there because I knew I was talking to you and I had to make
Okay.
sure I didn't miss anything. So all my
Okay.
little how I like to do. I'll be rewriting the stories and like here, let me give you the secondary
Right.
secondary story.
Bring me ideas for the next story.
Yeah, so I am looking forward to seeing you this year. Wherever sightings you are, definitely I'm going to be at Raw, and if I can make it happen, I will be at the Book Maniac Mega Fest as well. So until then, Sharon, keep writing those great stories.
I'll
We
keep
will keep
writing. Thank
reading.
you so much for having me.
Oh, no worries. This is it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So
All right.
everyone have a good rest of your night. And have a great weekend and be safe. Let me see some people are let me make sure nobody have anything to say to you. Oh, she
Okay.
really enjoyed. Thank you, Myra, for
I've been
coming
seeing a
out.
few of the comments. JB,
Yeah.
Veronica, Joyce, Tony, all of you. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for
So y'all know
stopping
where she's
by.
gonna be at. So try to make one of those events out or all of them if you can.
Yep, and if I add any more, it'll be in my I usually share that stuff with my newsletter followers. So if you're not
Okay.
one of my newsletter followers, definitely sign up. You can find
Yeah,
me at
I would say that.
sharoncooper.net.
Okay, and I will put the newsletter. Oh, go to her website and then
Yep,
just go and get that in
sharoncooper.net.
there. And
We
I will
find
put that
everything.
in. I'll put that in the comments
Yep.
later. So come back, grab that. Do sign up for that newsletter because it helps me so much to try to keep up with her.
Okay.
All right, take care, Sharon. Take
All
care.
right, thank
Good night,
you. Have a
everybody.
good night. Have a good weekend, actually.
Yeah, you too. Okay.
Okay.